Good evening. Welcome to the Monday, May 1st, 2017 meeting of the Albion City Council. I would ask that if you have cell phones to put them on silent, and I'm calling this meeting to order. We will begin with a moment of silence. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Domingo, roll call, please.
Councilmember Barnes.
Here.
Reed. Here. Brown.
Here.
Lawler.
Here.
Spicer.
Here.
French.
Here.
And Mayor Brown.
Here. Are there any comments from council members this evening? Councilmember Brown.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge a resident in my precinct. Robert Holt celebrated his 99th birthday over the weekend. For those of you who may not know Mr. Holt, he is the father of my former middle school math teacher and retired APS teacher, Camelia Hawkins. So I wanted to say happy birthday, Mr. Holt. And I also want to ask Albion residents to just send positive thoughts and positive energy to Stacy and Jim Stewart, who are also residents in Precinct 3. They're going through a tough situation right now without going into details, so just asking for positive energy and positive thoughts for those two. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember French.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to announce to the general public that this weekend, Saturday at 1 p.m. is Albion College's commencement. Our three commencement speakers are all centered around the power of education, and they include Michael Milkey, who is the founder of the Noble Street Charter School System in Chicago. We get many students from that school system, have over the last 2 or 3 years. Linda Yonke, class of 1975, who is the superintendent of New Trier High School in suburban Chicago. And finally, Jess Womack, who is an Albion City and Albion High School alum, as well as Albion College alum, class of 1965. He's had a long and distinguished career with lots and lots of experiences, including the Peace Corps and in Vietnam, and working for the Ford Motor Company. Since 2012 or so, he joined the board of Green Dot Schools, which is an LA charter school system. So his message will include a statement: education will help students deal with the issues that will arise in their lifetime. So that commencement is outside in the quad, down by the gym at 1 o'clock. If it's rain, there'll be some, it'll be in Goodrich Chapel with viewing, simulcast viewing at a number of locations throughout campus. So pray for sun. Thanks.
Are there any other comments from council this evening? Okay. Seeing none, we will move forward to presentations. Item A under presentations, the Economic Development Corporation quarterly update from the EDC President, Amy Dupreez.
Stacy's going to hand out the quarterly update that I supplied to my board last meeting, so middle of April. But while she's doing that, I'm just going to start and go through that. This is a written update that you're going to get quarterly. So the next one will be mid-July probably. So this one covers January through March. And the top of the form gives some numbers, some data on the different kinds of calls and activities that have taken place. And because it's a new one, I'm just going to kind of briefly go through what's covered there so you understand the difference. Retention contacts is meetings, calls with primarily manufacturing companies within our greater Albion area. So there was 5 of those during that first quarter. And this is calendar year, I'm sorry. And then the prospect RFP and then prospect activity. So the next 2 lines. Prospect RFP we get requests for proposals to site manufacturing or industry in our area. And that 9 is just ones that geographically we fit. So it doesn't include if they said Detroit only or UP or something like that. 3 of those I was able to supply sites for, and primarily the reasons I wasn't able to supply to the other 6 were we didn't have a ready available building of the right size and unknown environmental issues. So those are things we want to keep an eye on, and that's what I'm tracking to try to figure out if there is an appropriate size building that's missing. Is it the right time to look at a speculative build where we get somebody to build a building, an industrial building, and the chance that we'll site something. So then that last category is entrepreneurship or small business. Part of the update that I'm going to give you in a little bit is about the Small Business Development Center. That has been very well received. We've had a lot of activity there. So you've seen 25, that's either myself meeting with them or the SBDC counselor meeting with the clients. And then the last thing is community development contacts. And and my eyes are going bad, 25 there too for this quarter. That is meetings for any kind of project or development initiative, or meeting with the land bank on the redevelopment sites. So it could be a varied thing. But then below all of that is the highlights, and I'm just gonna kind of briefly go through those, because it is supplied to you in writing. If you've got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Like I said, the Small Business Development Center has been extremely successful. We offer the one-on-one counseling on the second Tuesday of the month, and most months we're having to expand that to an additional day because of the demand, which the counselor is more than happy to do. And then we also partnered with Homestead Bank and the SBDC and put on a workshop this past quarter for starting a restaurant or food business. We had 33 registered and about 25 attended, so it was a really, really good showing. Regarding marketing, we've been spending some time developing some collateral for marketing. We needed to put some asset sheets together. Asset sheets basically talk about the different assets in our community and how they are assets and how they can help promote activity in the future. And then we also put together, and you received a copy of this, a positive impact statement. It's called Redevelopment Albion or something like that. I don't have a copy in front of me. But it's basically a selection of some of the projects that have happened either in the near term or just past, and how the community and assistance has played into it. So the Peabody project is listed in there, and that's been before you already. The hotel, some of the college work. But then additionally to that, also some of the things that the city is doing, like the redevelopment ready certification and the comprehensive plan, making our community more attractive for development. So that'll be used in prospecting to show a prospective business what our community is all about. And then we also have been working on a custom pitch packet, primarily for grocery store, but it would be able to be customed to whatever we're gonna go and pitch for. So a prospective pitch packet is when they haven't come to us asking for it, we're going to them. So it's a little bit different than the RFP process. Regarding development, Albion was part of a joint EPA assessment grant that the Harvard site was included in. So that is between Albion, Battle Creek, and Calhoun County. We haven't heard back if that's been successful, but hopefully we get about $200,000 to do assessment on that Harvard site. That would help us a lot when I said that those unknown environmental issues, knowing what we're dealing with there would help us address those issues to a prospective company. And we also received a letter of interest from the state on the Peabody project. So we're currently going through the application stage on that. But that was it's been a long process. So there's lots of hoops to jump through. There's more hoops to go through. But that is one that eventually we'll get a full application submitted, then a release of funds. And release of funds means the project can actually start. But before that, you can incur cost, so it is slow in the process. Regarding the food hub, the website and the logo is in the design process. Hopefully within the next 60 days, that'll be finalized. It's been going much slower than I would like. But they've had some change in staff, so stuff we couldn't really foresee happening. We've also applied for 2 grants, one for the farmer's market and one for the aggregate and exchange function. And the aggregate and exchange function would be bringing in produce or product from the neighbor or the farmers in about a 25-mile radius, and then supplying it to either business, industry, or local restaurants, people. So it's that exchange. And that would happen through the food hub. And then as far as activity at the food hub, we've got about 4 clients that I would call reoccurring, that are in different stages of becoming contract at the food hub, so we'd have revenue coming through at a standard time. We also worked with the state to apply for recertification of the industrial park. That was quite a process, and I just met last week with the group that's going to certify that. So looks like we're on track to have that certified. We worked earlier this year on an update to the 2017 Albion Industrial Park Guide. That is available both in print and online in a searchable form. So if anyone has any interest in knowing what's in Albion, how many employees they have, what their product is, that's the guide that you'd want to look at. And then John Tracy took myself and Neely out on a tour of the sites in Albion, and we looked at the Harvard site, many redevelopment sites, and kind of familiarized me with the lay of the land and some of the challenges with each of those sites. And then also talked about what kind of uses we could use them for. So it was very helpful for me to be on the ground and see the Harvard site from inside, see some of these other sites, and so when I'm pitching them or when I'm trying to work with it, I have a better understanding of it. And then additionally, we're working with my board, the Economic Development Board, to champion a project, and that project is Eaton Corridor, and it's to kind of clean up that corridor and aesthetically make it more pleasing as a gateway to the community. So you'll see more of that action in this next quarter. And we worked with the city on the comprehensive plan, the redevelopment ready certification, and the capital improvements plan. And then we've been working, as you already know, we are kind of the staff for Albion Redevelopment Corporation, ARC. So we've been working with them on coming up with a strategic plan for downtown to redevelop the downtown. And we've also put in place a process that's pretty detailed on if a company wants to do commercial space in the downtown, how do they do that? What are their considerations? What kind of funding streams are there? So that's detailed and outlined and available at our office for use. So that, in a nutshell, is what we did for that first quarter of this year. The other thing I wanted to share with you, and you've got a copy of, is May 17th, we are doing another Employer Resource Summit. This one is on workforce assistance. There's some great panelists going to be there talking about, jobs is the #1 issue right now. Everyone is talking about not being able to find qualified people, or, not being able to fill hard to fill jobs and apprenticeships. This is a kind of overarching time for you to see each of those resources in a little bit more detail. So that's going to be May 17th at the Ludington Center. I would encourage each of you, if you have time that day, to attend or share it with the companies that are within your precincts. There's space still available, and there is no charge. So, any questions?
Are there any questions? Councilmember Lawler.
Thank you, Mayor. This is good, and I thank you for the update. One thing that was brought to my attention a young man wanted a place downtown, to see if there was places downtown for him to cut hair. He wanted to come to the downtown area, and he was informed that there wasn't anything or any building or anything at the time that he could use. So to speed this conversation up a little bit, I just want to make sure that we are offering, I know all buildings are not occupied downtown, just make sure that we're offering, either they can wait for the businesses, like the people that are the ARC services and the Shaheen side of the streets. Not only wait for that, they give them an option to either wait till one of those buildings get open, or they have an option to get a building that is not occupied. And I just hope that we are doing that, because when he approached me with it, he said the city, so I am part of the city, so I just want to make sure that we're offering buildings that are not occupied, and if they can be available to people, that they are being showed
Yeah.
to or told about or something.
Definitely. So what I'm doing when I'm approached with that kind of a question is I just tell them the plan. And right now, unfortunately, I don't have timing to go with that plan, because in order to redevelop the downtown, it's gonna take funding. So we're putting the numbers together right now, and then we'll go after the funding. But if they can wait, if they can adjust their timing to white boxing that space, their chances of success is so much better. And that's what I try to explain to them. But if they can't, and they identify a space that isn't ARC or Mr. Shaheen's or Dr. Shaheen's, happy to work with the owner of that to get them put in place. The benefits of waiting is we're gonna have more foot traffic, because you're gonna have developed space next to developed space next to developed space, instead of a bunch of vacancies. So we've got construction this summer, which is gonna impact their success, but it'll also, you know, in the long run, having a bunch of new businesses down there is gonna increase the traffic, increase their success, and they're gonna build off of each other. But I totally understand if their timing doesn't allow it, and we'll find something for them.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of those buildings need some work, unfortunately.
I just want to make sure they got an option.
Yep.
Councilmember Burns.
I know your time is short, you have to leave. Is it possible for me to take a look at the RFP that was submitted for this Mount Iron grant? I just want to know the particulars of it, and I know you don't have time to do it now. Because you say we're in, I want to use the word competition with a couple of other entities for this $200,000 grant?
The only site that Albion submitted is the Harvard site.
Yes, but we're in competition with a couple of others to receive it, no?
No. If the joint application is successful, we will get the $200,000.
Okay, that's my question. Am I privy to the application, the joint application?
I don't have a copy of it, but I will reach out to the county and see if they'll supply me a copy, and I'd be happy to give it to you.
Thank you.
Are there any, Councilmember Spicer?
Thank you, Mayor. Amy, quick question. I appreciate the efforts and the looking to clean up the Eaton Street corridor. I think that's awesome, wonderful, because it definitely is in need. However, I was curious to know, has any consideration been given to the other entryways to Albion? And I understand that you can only do so much, so amount of time. So is there conversations surrounding that, or is that something you're planning on in the future?
There's conversations around that. Right now, the Eaton is our pilot to see how it goes. There's also been discussions to partnering with other entities or organizations for them to champion some of those other gateways. I mean, for us to be successful, all our gateways have to look good.
I agree.
Depending on which way somebody comes in, if they come across something that's not very nice, it's gonna impact their thoughts and feelings for the community. So eventually, all of them need to look good. But we felt, the board felt that this is a project that they could use their expertise and skills and background to affect change immediately. So that's why that one was selected, and it was probably the most traveled, being, to get, especially when we're thinking about redeveloping downtown, or not only thinking, we are doing that with the hotel coming. Most people will get off the highway there, so that seemed to be the most important aspect. But there's been multiple conversations about what we can do in the future, what other corridors, and trying to partner with other groups that they could maybe champion some of those.
Thank you, appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions from council? Okay. Councilman Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Amy, is there a timeline for the Eaton Street corridor? There-
The initial part of that is gonna be painting of houses. And, just before I came over here, I was working on the program and the application. Some of the houses need bad painting. So, that's what we're working on initially, and we hope to have that done during the summer.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from council? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We'll move forward for item B under presentations. Oakland Hospital update, Richard Lindsay.
Thank you, Mayor Brown, City Council. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight. As I indicated, I would like to come back and report on approximately a quarterly basis. So this is the next quarter. I was coming back to talk to you. Just a quick report on the Oakland auction was held in March, and we raised about $100,000 for about $100,000 were raised, and again, we had strong support from the east side of the county. A number of businesses donated different things that were auctioned off at that auction, so we very much appreciate the support. Coming up on May 20th is the Oakland Hospitality Classic, and that is both a health fair and a 5K and a 10K and a fun run. We're looking forward to that. Actually working with the Harrington School here in Albion on the Oakland Lap Club. I believe we've talked to the city manager about how to have kind of a program leading up into the running of 5K. So try to get the kids involved in the fitness and also adults, because adults need to stay fit also. So we're looking forward to that. I want to ask everybody to take a look when they get an opportunity. We have a link on Facebook to our new virtual tour. So we're using our birth centers. The first one we're going to have is a virtual tour. So it's, you've seen this in other applications. Basically, it's a camera that you move around, but when you view it on Facebook or on the web, it allows you to go through the actual building where you're at or the room. And again, we realize that we are competing with hospitals and adjoining communities, and we think we have wonderful physical facilities. We're very proud of our private rooms. We were one of the first hospitals to offer private rooms in this area for birthing. And again, take a look at it, and as we have several other ones we're going to roll out in the next few months. So there will be other ones posted both on Facebook with links to our website, and then you can also go to Oakland website and check them out, which is oaklandhospital.org. Once a month on Friday for the next year, we're going to be running a series on WWMT about a different medical topic. This week, actually last Friday, Dr. Swender talked about allergy shots and allergy season. It seemed like a very fitting topic for this time of the year, as people are sneezing and coughing with allergies. And I wake up again every morning with runny eyes and runny nose. So Dr. Swender talked about that. And again, if you go to the Facebook page, you can link on the Facebook page into the interview to be able to watch that. We discussed last time the rural healthcare grant. We haven't heard anything at this point. We've had some discussions with community partners about possibly co-locating in the Washington Gardner building. Talked some with Albion College about that idea. Basically, at this point, we're waiting for that grant piece to get us started on that. It was due already, so probably the change in administration in Washington is probably holding that up. We don't know exactly at this point, but hope to have some good news on that relatively quickly. I'll back up what Amy said. Oakland at any given time has about 25 job vacancies, and so these range anywhere from housekeepers and cooks through doctors. We simply can't find enough qualified people to fill the jobs that we have. So I'd encourage people to go on both on our Facebook page. We're regularly putting jobs on there, And then that links to our webpage, which also lists the jobs under Join Our Team is the topic. So you can go in and apply. I would encourage people to apply. And again, you can apply for multiple positions, and your resume can also be held on file basically until there's a need. So there's a number of things. Anything to do with nursing is in constant demand, but again, there's a number of jobs that are available, so I encourage people to look at that. The dialysis clinic is up and running. We had, actually, when I was here last time, we had questions about transportation, had a question about insurance issues, and thank you for a couple of city council members for raising those issues, and we did get those issues resolved. We did work with the city of Marshall to make sure that within the city of Albion that there were not transport issues from locations in Albion to the dialysis clinic. We also found that the ridership dropped significantly from Marshall to Albion when the dialysis center closed. So we think that the dialysis center here in Albion is doing what we intended to do, which is serve the citizens of Albion and allow them a much easier and closer access to health care. Those were the things I had. Again, Dr. Phillips is working on our clinic here, and she's very busy and very popular. She was one when we posted her picture and her bio on Facebook. It exploded on Facebook, so she has a huge following. It's good to be busy, and she's very busy. So, does anybody have any questions or anything I can address or research and give you an answer at some point?
Any questions?
All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you, I really appreciate it. We'll move forward to item C, under presentations, Albion Marshall Resilient Communities Project, Linda Lanou. Thank you.
This is Hello, everyone, and hello, and thank you for having us today to speak about the Albion Marshall Resilient Communities Project. The Resilient Communities Project is a series of free events ranging from exam field trips, book readings, movie screenings, and so on that really center on the subject of race and class. These events provide spaces for dialogues and discussions about how race impacts our two communities, Albion and Marshall, especially relevant after the annexation of Albion Public Schools. The hope is that we can create a culture of mutual respect and dignity for one another so that our two communities are prepared for future dialogues and challenges and move forward together. So Linda is going to speak about one event in particular that's coming up, and we'll leave you with some information about where you can find more details about these events, their time, their location, and so on. Thank you.
So as Steve said, the goal of this project is really to bring our two communities together as they already have been through our schools, prior to annexation and now after the vote in a much more concrete way. And we do recognize that there are a number of issues at play, but this is kind of like a leg in a relay race, and we're just taking up as best we can to address those needs. And so after the project launched in February, we immediately received feedback from community members that there need to be spaces for people to come together and address what's going on within the schools. It's very important that we're educated, but we have to talk about what's happening now. And so I gave information to each of you about the community conversations, and that's what I'm focusing on tonight, because that is specifically with regard to the current issues at play. And we really do want, as the community as whole, to know that this is happening and as many people as possible to be able to be there. So if any of you are interested in helping get the word out, I did give a few flyers to everybody about each of the events, and then we can provide more, and I'm happy to go with you in your precincts and help hand those out. I'm planning to go to the different public housing complexes in Albion, and I've been putting the flyers around Albion, but I just want people to know that we really do want to hear from everybody about the different concerns that they have, and that we all have needs, and that we need to be informed of those in order to better address them. And I do just want to make a note that our steering committee does include people from each community, a variety of ages, people from different races and backgrounds and differing views on the annexation. But we do recognize that we can only know so much, and we need to hear from the community to better understand what needs to happen. And I also just want to highlight that we really want to meet people where they are. We recognize that that's been an ongoing problem, expecting people to come to us. And so if there is any suggestions or feedback or, you know, I guess making this announcement to the community, just ways that we can better meet people, we want to know that. And then, so I'm part of the VISTA program, who's centered out of the Ludington Center. And then if you have information about this project, info@star.org is the email, and 1-800-837-5591 would be a phone number you could call. And then, are there any questions from any of you about the project or the community conversations?
Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a question. I just wanted to applaud you, Linda and Steve, for your hard work, because I know the two of you have really been out there, hearing from the community and just different perspectives, and I applaud you for your efforts. I did want to ask for more flyers for
Absolutely.
community conversations.
Yep.
And take you up on your offer to walk door to door
Yeah.
to get the word out. So,
I can follow up with you and plan a time.
all right, thank
I'm
you.
glad to do that.
Are there any other comments or questions from council? Okay. Oh, Councilmember Spicer.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a comment for Linda. I too want to take you up on your offer.
Thank you.
Not to do door to door, no. I am working with Councilman Lawler, and we are going to have a combined precinct 4 and 5 gathering, and
Okay.
I'd like you to attend.
Absolutely.
It would be, I think, the 1st of June is what we're shooting for now.
Okay.
But I will get with you if you can get me a number or an email or something.
Yep.
Contact info.
Yep, I meant to give you guys my cards. I can pass those out, but I can give you my card. I know that the next community conversation, I didn't announce that, so it's May 11th is the first, and then the second is on June 1st. And those are from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Ludington Center. 6:30 to 8:30.
June 1st, keep it away from June.
Yes. And Steve was also gonna just highlight that in your packet of information, there's a lot of other events, and different things happening. And all of that information is made available online, but we recognize that people don't have access to the internet. And so those flyers are made available at the Ludington Center, and we can always get more.
Any other comments, questions?
I just,
Oh,
go ahead.
Councilmember Lawler, Councilmember Brown.
I was looking at the flyer that you have on here.
Mm-hmm.
This is yours, right? It said Wednesday, June 17th, and I think the 17th is on the 7th.
Supposed to be the 7th, so that was a mistake on our part.
Okay.
It's June 7th. Thank you for highlighting that. We will fix that. You were the first people to receive that. We haven't put those out anywhere else, so that's good you caught that. Thank you.
That's my bad.
Councilmember Brown.
I'll just get with Linda and Steve at a later date. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll now move forward to item D under presentations, proclamation for the 2017 National Day of Prayer. Pastor Stephen Williams.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm just here to receive the proclamation. I didn't have a speech prepared. Okay.
City of Albion proclamation recognizing National Day of Prayer, May 4th, 2017. Whereas the National Day of Prayer is in the spirit of unity and reflection for those who came before us, and whereas we give thanks for the courage and compassion shown by so many in this country and around the world, and whereas the City of Albion is holding the National Day of Prayer on the front steps of City Hall on Thursday, May 4th, 2017. Whereas the Albion City Council recognizes the National Day of Prayer as a coming together of peace and goodwill. Now therefore, I, Gary Brown, Mayor of the City of Albion, do hereby proclaim May 7th, 2017 as National Day of Prayer in Albion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pastor Williams? I have a question. Proclamation at the top says the National Day of Prayer is May 4th.
Yes?
Therefore, I get Mayor Brown says that May 7th is the National Day of Prayer,
Oh, yeah.
which is
It's on the
It's May
Thursday?
4th.
Yeah,
May 4th.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll correct that.
Correct, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll make that correction.
And the time, the time? It's new.
Yes, the time is from 12 noon until 1.
Thank you. And I think this has been observed
Yeah.
there for a long time, so.
Do I need to say something about
Yeah,
it?
At noon,
Well, I will say this, and we have been doing this, and I appreciate the council has been very supportive in allowing us to come to do this prayer on the steps, and have even given us permission on the times that it has been bad weather to come into the chamber and have prayer. So we appreciate that, and it has been supported by the pastors and by others who show up, and I have a slate of pastors who will be praying, who are, pastors of this community. And we also invite all of you to come and be a part of that. And we thank you for your support.
thank you. We'll now move forward to public comment. Persons addressing the city shall limit their comments to agenda items only, to no more than 3 minutes, and
We actually revised the agenda.
oh, you're right, I'm sorry, I had it here and didn't go back to it. Okay, there's an amendment to the agenda this evening. Professor Allison Harnish, and I believe it's an anthropology course, are here for a presentation, so if you could come forward and just introduce yourself, I appreciate it.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to join you tonight. So my name is Allie Harnish. I'm a professor in the Department of Anthropology and Sociology at Albion College. This semester, I was teaching a class that's actually co-listed between anthropology and history called Native North America. And one of the assignments was helping students to kind of wrap their heads around a concept called settler colonialism, wherein a colonial population comes in and displaces and erases the indigenous people who were here previously. So this assignment asked students to research the history of an individual for whom a main artery of our city and as well as the campus of Albion is named, as kind of one avenue into understanding this process of settler colonialism, the violence of erasure. But also, this is part of a broader conversation that's unfolding in communities and campuses across the U.S. The 2015 shooting at Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina, has reinvigorated demands for the removal of monuments dedicated to prominent pro-slavery and Confederate States figures. For example, this year, Yale University announced that the university's Calhoun College will be renamed to honor Grace Murray Hopper, an alumna who is a pioneering mathematician and a computer scientist who helped transform the way we think about technology. Last year, Harvard Law School changed its shield because it incorporated elements from a slaveholding family's coat of arms. Georgetown, which literally funded itself in the 1800s with the sale of hundreds of slaves, is now atoning for this history by conferring an advantage in the admissions process to those slaves' descendants. At the University of North Carolina, officials recently renamed a hall that had previously honored the leader of the Ku Klux Klan. In April of 2016, leaders at Princeton University actually chose not to remove the name of Woodrow Wilson as protesters had demanded, and instead pledged to be transparent about his failings, such as his support for segregation, as well as his achievements leading the university and the country. And so for this assignment, students were asked to argue which course of action they thought was most appropriate for Albion. Albion that, like many communities in Michigan, has a place named after Lewis Cass. So of course we have Cass Street, but elsewhere in Michigan, in Grand Rapids and Detroit, there's Cass Avenue, there's Cass Cliff on Mackinac Island, there's the Lewis Cass Building in Lansing. Around the state, we have Cass County, Cassopolis, Cass Lake, Cass River. In Detroit, there's the Cass Corridor, Cass Park, and Lewis Cass Technical High School. Right, there's a lot of Cass stuff around here. So students were asked to consider which course of action, after learning a bit more about who this individual was, they thought was more appropriate. A name change, as Yale and the University of North Carolina have elected to do, or a public education campaign, as Princeton is currently pursuing. The class was broken into 9 research teams, and all 9 favored a name change. All 9 also produced a biography of a notable Native American whom they felt is more deserving of the honor of a street name. So what we've come forward today is a brief overview of the history of who Lewis Cass was, and from that list of 9 individuals, we have identified 5 people, and I've produced for you a handout that conveniently made by the Michigan Women's Historical Center and Hall of Fame of 3 women in particular who stand out. But of course, our goal here is just to kind of begin a conversation. We certainly aren't demanding that Cass Street be renamed or renamed after any of these specific individuals, but just to kind of float some ideas and hopefully spark a conversation. So with your permission, I can hand these out, and we can have some presentations from our students. So Sydney's going to begin by telling you a little bit about Lewis Cass.
Hi, my name is Sydney Roeder. I am a graduating senior at Albion College. I'm an anthropology major. And I'm going to give a brief background on who Lewis Cass is. So he was a brigadier general in the War of 1812 and served as an aide to General William Henry Harrison at the Battle of Thames, which is the infamous battle in which the celebrated Shawnee leader Tecumseh was killed. And then he was appointed military and civil governor of Michigan Territory from 1813 to 1831. And then he oversaw a number of indigenous land cessions. Letters from Cass' tenure as governor show he was a slave owner and a racist. So, from 1831 to 1836, he served as Secretary of War under President Andrew Jackson. It's important to note that during this period, one of the primary duties of Secretary of War was to take care of what was known at the time as the Indian problem. And so throughout history, the United States government has pursued a different number of strategies in dealing with indigenous peoples, ranging from genocide to coercive assimilation. As Secretary of War, Cass implemented the Indian Removal Act and oversaw the coerced migration of tens of thousands of Native Americans in what became later known as the Trail of Tears, where Native Americans from their ancestral homelands in eastern United States were sent to those territories west of the Mississippi River. So over 4,000 Cherokees died during this, and he also supervised the Indian Vaccination Act, which gave selective protection to a limited amount of tribes in the U.S. government that they wanted to relocate, and other tribes such as the Mandan, who were not included in the vaccination of smallpox, led to a loss of 90% of their tribe.
I'll tell you just a little bit more, and then we'll open it up to some of the proposals from our students. So after his tenure as Secretary of War, Cass served as Minister to France, was twice a U.S. Senator representing Michigan, Secretary of State under President James Buchanan, twice an unsuccessful candidate for president. And as Senator, Cass famously supported and proposed, and indeed was regarded as the father of the doctrine of popular sovereignty. In a nutshell, this was basically the idea that American settlers living in Western territories should get to vote on whether or not to allow slavery in the new territories. He was very against a proposal when we had new territories in California, Texas, Kansas, parts of Oklahoma, Wyoming, Nevada, Utah, and New Mexico, that citizens there should be allowed to decide for themselves. Of course, citizens being white men should be allowed to decide whether or not they should get to own other people. Interestingly, this made Cass very unpopular in Michigan. He defied the requests of his constituents. He also defied the requests of other legislators from the state of Michigan and supported this doctrine ceaselessly, which eventually led to the creation of the Republican Party in Jackson, right? This was their response to Lewis Cass, who was not representing Michiganders as they wanted to be represented. So, the doctrine of popular sovereignty has been described by some as a failed compromise strategy. What he was trying to do, right, was keep the Union together at all costs, prevent the coming Civil War. But at its core, of course, this strategy was racist. It's empowering one group of people with the decision of whether or not they should be allowed to own and exploit another group of people. And during his tenure as senator, he also refused to oppose the fugitive slave law, also called the Bloodhound Law, which denied trial to any person claimed as property by a slave owner and required citizens of free states to cooperate in the return of runaway slaves to their abusive masters. Yeah, right? So for all of his claims of support for popular sovereignty, as Clunder has stated, quote, Cass did not fret that the price to be paid to secure harmony between the North and South was black bondage. He viewed Negroes as inferior to whites and portrayed the Southern slave system as basically a benevolent institution. He also railed against the anti-slavery Republican Party that was forming in the North. Northerners who resisted the introduction to slavery in their territories considered Cass's doctrine of popular sovereignty to be little more than a blatant attempt to placate the South and secure for him the presidential nomination. And it worked, but he lost to Zachary Taylor. So now that we know a little bit more about who Lewis Cass is, we should ask ourselves, do we want this man to have his name on a street that's a main artery of our community and part of our college campus? All 9 of the student research groups said that they thought a name change was appropriate, and we'll share with you next some of the alternatives that students proposed.
My name is Evan Reith. I'm a sophomore here at Albion College, and I'm from Three Oaks, Michigan, in the southwest corner of the state. I'll be talking today about Madeleine Laframboise. Madeleine Laframboise was one of the most successful fur traders in what was to become the state of Michigan. As such, she is the most prominent of the early businesswomen in the state of whom we have historical records. Of French and Indian ancestry, Madeleine Laframboise, or Marcotte, before she was married, was raised in Ottawa and always considered herself an Indian. She wore Indian dress all her life and served as a valuable contact among the tribes for white settlers and other traders. With her husband Joseph, Madeleine built the first trading post in the Grand Rapids area around 1800. Her Ada trading post was the first permanent mercantile establishment in the Grand River Valley and was the forerunner of the settlement which became Grand Rapids. After her husband's murder in 1806, Madeleine continued to manage several trading posts in West Michigan, a business enterprise which reached from the Grand River to Mackinac. For a period of more than 15 years, she was so successful that the powerful American Fur Company found itself unable to compete with her and so convinced her to merge with that company in 1818, following which she retired to Mackinac Island. Fluent in 4 languages, Madeleine became active in church affairs on the island after her retirement in 1821. She paid the salaries of the island priests and donated a large tract of land for St. Anne's Church, in consideration for which she was buried beneath the altar, where she rests to this day. Popular and respected by representatives of 2 cultures, Madeleine Laframboise made her mark in a male-dominated world, and she did so by preserving her native heritage. She also viewed the times in realistic perspective and saw to it that her children were prepared to succeed in a white man's world. They were educated in Montreal, and the daughter married the brother of President Franklin Pierce, while the son carried on the family tradition by becoming a trader in Minnesota. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mariam. I'm a sophomore. So Ira Hayes was a Pima Indian in the United States Marine, and he joined the Corps at the age of 19, and he helped fight against Japan in World War II and across other battles across the Pacific. He's really famous for the photograph at Iwo Jima. He was one of the 6 men immortalized in the famous photograph of the flag that was raised that you probably all have seen. And so he ended up becoming a national icon, and he returned to the United States to raise money for the war effort by touring the country selling war bonds. he ended up being something that a lot of people, including Cass, thought a Native American could never be, which was an American hero, and he really embodied this. So that's why we think that he would be someone who is worthy of having a street named after.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Melissa Roush. I'm a student at Albion College also, and my group and I believe that Kay Givens McGowan is a better representative than Cass. She was born in 1942, and she's still currently living. A little more about McGowan. She's a Native American Indian of Choctaw and Cherokee. She has been a social activist all her life. She helped found First Step, a domestic violence shelter in southeast Michigan, as well as DARE, the Downriver Anti-Rape Effort. The Michigan City's lobby, with McGowan as director, led the successful effort to pass generic drug and auto repair legislation, both regarded as models of progressive public policy. She also coordinated the statewide petition drive to repeal the sales tax on groceries and medications. So my group and I believe that she's a better representative because she busts the myth that all Native Americans have disappeared. And she also has continuously put effort toward making the world a better place by helping all people who need it and for the future generations. Thank you.
Jim Thorpe is another person who we think that represents the street name better than Cass. He was born in Oklahoma and was part of the Sac and Fox Native American tribe. Many of you probably know him because he was part of the Team USA in the 1912 Stockholm Olympics and was the only person to win gold in the pentathlon and the decathlon. And so he is also considered to be the greatest athlete in the 20th century. In 2000, he was voted the greatest athlete. He also played semi-pro baseball and signed to the New York Giants baseball team in 1913. And so he would be a good name also because he's the greatest athlete, voted the greatest athlete, and is an Indian who showed the existence after the U.S. attempted to commit the genocide of Indians. So.
Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm a sophomore at Albion. Another one that we thought would be a good representation for our new street name, if we decide to go forward with that, would be Cora Reynolds Anderson. She was the first woman elected to the Michigan House of Representatives. She only served one term from 1925 to 1926, but she did a lot more in the state. She was also believed to be the only Native American woman elected to the Michigan House or Senate. She chaired the Industrial Home for Girls Committee and was powerful in the fight against alcoholism and tuberculosis. She worked in the UP in Baraga County and was instrumental in securing the first public health nurse in the entire county's history. She was educated as a teacher and taught in the Upper Peninsula, but at that time when she was educated, it was incredibly difficult for a woman of color, or particularly a Native woman, to be educated and to be able to access that education. So she overcame all sorts of odds to be able to get an education and did a lot with it to benefit her community, especially in health reform. So we think that she would also be a really worthy name. So thank you.
Thank you.
That is our presentation. So hopefully we can have perhaps some conversations about who Lewis Cass was, whether or not he represents Albion's values, and I leave it to you to decide how you'd like to proceed with this information.
No. Thank you. Just a very short comment. So one, thank you for doing this. I think it's really timely because I believe, I want to say last week, New Orleans voted, the city of New Orleans voted to actually remove monuments, and so they've started that whole process. So It's definitely timely, and then with the Princeton thing, they changed the name of one of the buildings after Toni Morrison, a hall after her, kind of as part of that process too. So there's definitely it's definitely timely. Are there any questions from council this evening? Councilmember Barnes.
Does the dean and the president know you guys are gonna do this?
The provost does. I've talked with Mark Roy about it, certainly. It actually did make the campus newspaper that circulates around, because this all started back in like fall. I'm still relatively new to Michigan, and I remember seeing like cast everywhere, and I was curious, why? What's up with all the cast stuff? And so the WDET radio station in Detroit, they have a program called Curiosity, where you can submit a question about the region, about the state, about the city of Detroit. And so I asked what's up with all the cast stuff way back in like October, and then forgot about it, and just decided that regardless of whether or not WDET takes it up, I'll try and develop some lesson plans around some of my classes where we can explore it. And then I got called back in like March that WDET was interested in investigating this story. So they're putting their investigative team on researching like, when did some of these places acquire their names? Have there ever been efforts on the part of citizens to change these names? And then, that resulted in like a campus newspaper, because you could go online and vote for the question if you wanted that question to be answered. And so it's certainly circulated and people are aware of it. I have not received any negative comments about some of the conversations that we're having, and have received a lot of kind of positive stories. And one example of which, even so, one of my students in a different class, she attended Cass Tech, and she was talking about how their Cass means something very different, right? Like students at Cass Tech are, at least when she was there, are educated as to who Lewis Cass was, and they proudly wore shirts that said something to the effect of like, Lewis Cass is rolling over in his grave right now because of how smart and awesome I am. And so, she was happy to kind of offer a different perspective from a community that knew very well who Lewis Cass was, and also had kind of seized that Cass name and created a new meaning for it in a particular place. And so regardless of whether or not a name change happens, I think it's just great to have these kinds of conversations.
I just need to add, I'm from Grand Rapids, so the statement of her being the first fur trader, I would debate Lewis Camp Hall. We founded our city, the first fur trader. But this is gonna be good for conversation, but it's just me thinking this. When you go into this realm, into this depth, Cass had supporters. He had a philosophy that a lot of people at that time believed in. Okay, I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
The supporters are still alive.
Yeah.
A lot of them runs that.
Right. Okay, one second. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take a moment to thank you. That's a lot of work that you've all put together. Conversations are great, but when you put action behind conversations, and for you to organize students to come out tonight and speak to us, that shows follow through, and I'm just really thankful that you thought to do this, so thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. And I want to say, I guess, best wishes, because finals are going on, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah.
And they're like, we want to go to the council.
So thank you all, and we'll definitely look at it, and maybe there can be further conversations.
Sure,
So.
absolutely. I'd be happy to stay in touch, whatever you all think would be appropriate.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move forward now to public comment, citizens addressing City Council. We ask that you limit your comments to agenda items only, and to no more than 3 minutes. Are there any?
I gotta respond for my blood running cold.
Are there any public comments?
Yes.
If you state your name and address.
Wayne Arnold, 906 Hall Street. didn't get a chance to think of formally. Boy, it's amazing how that thing came back around. But, yeah, I didn't, as a lifetime resident of Albion, I didn't know that. That was really interesting, because I know for a fact that when we was protesting in the 70s, if we would have known that, the sign would have been gone. It wouldn't even been here. I know that for a fact. So I applaud her for bringing that up, and I really hope that we adopt that, because I'm pretty sure if we'd have known that, never would have been here. Never. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on the agenda this evening? Oh, well, is it Councilman Brown?
Mayor, I see our county commissioners here. Is it appropriate to ask that we table the remaining items on the agenda to allow him time to address council, and then...
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening.
Council members, City Manager Mitchell. Good evening. My name is Gary Tompkins, and I'm your County Commissioner. I'll be brief this evening, as I try to be. Most of my information is provided on my newsletter that most of you probably received, and so I'll be brief with my comments. First of all, real quickly, the Calhoun County Office of Senior Services will be holding their annual centenarian lunch at Schuler's in Marshall on Tuesday, May 16th at noon. This luncheon recognizes county citizens 100 years or older, and recognizing their situation certainly of being centenarians, which they should be recognized and appreciated. Even if they're 99 years old, they're encouraged certainly to attend the luncheon. So you can certainly contact the Office of Senior Services for more details. And also one thing real quickly I want to point out, I had the opportunity, the honor, I will say, to attend the ribbon cutting ceremony for T&T Beauty Supply on April 24th. And absolutely, ma'am, absolutely. And I will tell you, it was great to see Tisha Shower's enthusiasm and entrepreneurial spirit. She had a wonderful few minutes that she commented about it, and it was just wonderful to see everybody out, and I was very proud to be part of that. So I do thank you for that opportunity, very much so. And then finally, I'll be real quickly, on page 3 of my County Connection newsletter, talk a little bit about the equalization report, 2017 equalization report for the 7th District. But I wanted to highlight a couple things for the city of Albion, which I thought were very positive for the city of Albion. The residential average market values per parcel actually increased 6.58% from the previous year, from 39 to 41,000, which is a good thing. You're always looking for upticks in certainly your market values. So that was that was very positive news. The real property taxable value, which is your land and your buildings, actually increased 0.1%. Again, another positive increase. While personal property taxes, which is items that are not your lands and your buildings, but rather things that can be moved from one space to another, actually reduced by 2.13%. But I will recognize that's the lowest decrease in the 7th District of only 2.13%. Other places seen as much as 15 to 20% potentially reduction. So very good, so very positive for the city of Albion. And then real property taxable values by category, something that I kind of took the opportunity, because I'm always curious to say what is the total makeup of whether it be a township or a city or whatnot. And what I found is very interesting. You're very highly, 18.43% of your real property is commercial, which is very important, i.e. your downtown, your commercial businesses. 12.66 is your industrial base, and 68.91% is your residential. So heavy commercial, industrial, and residential. So it's an interesting, unique combination of it. But again, very positive as you guys move forward, certainly, and with all the activity going down currently in the downtown, it's very positive. So I'm looking forward to see when that's to its completion. It's going to be exciting. And then just in closing, I'll take this always an opportunity that my monthly newsletter, as you know, was just released. And if you're not on the email list and you'd like to be, certainly contact me at the bottom of the newsletter. There will be copies available tomorrow at the Albion Public Library. Certainly it's a great resource to know what's going on in and around the 7th District. So I'm always interested if you have any improvements that you'd like to see or anything that you can certainly pass on to me. Please always feel free to contact me at the phone number or at the email listed. But other than that, I wish you all a very, very good evening. All right? Thank you very much.
Are there any?
Appreciate it.
Oh, what? Commissioner?
No.
Oh, you?
You did? No.
Oh, okay, I thought it was.
I was jumping the gun.
Okay.
I'd like to bring our agenda back off the table.
Okay, is there a motion, is there a second?
I second that.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are back. To the regular agenda, okay. Consent calendar, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Items for individual discussion, agenda item A, discussion of the former Albion Malibu Harvard site.
I think the best interest of the presentation the EDC gave was contacted by NAACP President Mr. Dunklin and Mr. Bonner, the Director of Kids at Hope. They had informed me they will be contacting the city manager and council concerning a video presentation, possibly May 8th, calling the land grab. And I would defer this until that time, until you all had a chance to see the video and
Okay.
we're able to make some discussion on it. Thank you.
We'll move on to agenda item B, request approval resolution 2017-20, acquisition of Free Army surplus equipment. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Support.
Moved and seconded. We'll have the manager give an explanation.
Mayor and council, if you recall, we recently completed the capital improvements program where we identified some of the major equipment and material needs that we have in order to effectively operate the city. One of the opportunities that we have been utilizing is the Law Enforcement Support Office program, LESO. And that's a cost-effective approach to acquiring some of these much-needed items. It's been primarily and really exclusively used by the Public Safety Department. I would like to invite Deputy Chief Jason Kern, and is Chief Scott going to join you? All right, Deputy Chief Jason Kern, to talk in more detail as to what this program offers and how we've been able to maximize these purchases.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. See, my chief abandoned me, so. What this program is, we've been a part of it for quite some time now, and I believe it started in 1997. We've been a part of it since for the last 10 years. And it wasn't until we, in a roundabout story, we kind of got selected to redo our firearms range. And in turn, I was able to secure a new dump truck for the city from the military that had 7,800 miles on it. We've got, we just took possession of some other heavy equipment to work on this firearms range. In the meantime, for opening my mouth, I got selected to be part of a national news bulletin going to every law enforcement agency about how good of a job we're going to be redoing things in Albion. I wish I never would have said anything, but so some of the things out that were also available were items that we could use for community policing. We're starting to get some different things in to help, not only with building the range, but once we're done with this equipment, we have to keep it for a year. Once we're done with it, it can be transferred from our department to another city department. And the cost of some of these items, like the dump truck, was $141,000 that the U.S. military gave to us. So after we do a couple things at our range and it falls off our inventory after a year, we're able to transfer that to another department inside the city. One of the things that we got, I made you a list of kind of what we've gotten so far. It's kind of been a little crazy. It's kind of like eBay online. Some of the things that we got were they had $5,000 portable Honda generators that were, they had 47 of them, actually. I grabbed 6. They were brand new in a box still, along with a carrying case. In talking like with the rec department, once that we're able to transfer that sort of equipment, they would love to have that. We can use it for community policing. Like when we go to, we're getting ready to gear up for Juneteenth coming up. We're gonna have our fire trailer there. I was able to get my hands on a portable military kitchen. So we'll be doing, the military spent over $100,000 on this kitchen, and it's complete, and it goes behind a truck and folds out, so it looks like, I'm gonna be learning to cook for kids and whatnot, so, some other things we got, we were able to get very expensive, workout equipment, elliptical machines, treadmills, some stair steppers, so being a plus-size model myself, I'm gonna need to lose a little weight, so I'm gonna be the first to get on there. I might break it, but we'll find out. Chief Kip was able to get 15 laptop computers with i7 processors. Those are free. I'm actually making a rundown on Wednesday down to Columbus with a trailer to bring stuff back. We kind of look like American pickers on the way back from these military, because we'll grab anything we can get our hands on that's free and save the city as much money as possible. So we picked up 2 one-ton four-wheel drive Chevy diesel trucks. One had 16,000 miles, the other one had 49,000 miles. They are the most ugly green you have ever seen and faded. I asked Zick's Body Shop if they could buff it out, and John just laughed and said buy some spray paint. So, but it was free. The military spent $32,000 a piece. I grabbed it for us, so we can try and start cycling some of our old equipment out for some of this new equipment once we're done with it. And so, with that, I'll take any questions.
Are there any questions from council? Councilmember Lawler.
Thank you, Mayor. I see that you were able to grab 15 HP laptop computers, right? I conversated with another person that's in another city about how their council kind of runs, and I was just wondering, one of the benefits that they have is that each council member has their own computer. And they send out their packets instead of the packets maybe possibly getting rained on or something like that, you know. So I was just wondering if there could be an extra 6 or 7 that they could possibly pick up, and you know, maybe since we're upgrading, you know,
well,
future council members and present council members, maybe we all can upgrade.
I'm glad you asked that, because I got, the military came out, they had those telescopic arms that, for computer monitors. They spent $1,300 a piece. There are 24 of them still in the box. I grabbed 20, didn't think I was gonna get it, and I got it, and before I could open it, my chief grabbed a hold of the shipment before I could, and I haven't got one yet, but he's got some nice ones, and so does some other people in the department. But so those are the things that we're keeping in mind. Also, since we do a lot of meetings in the mayor's office, I'm going to try and get rid of those beautiful chairs that we have, especially when you lean backwards and you almost fall over. Yeah, I thought I was doing a header on that one. So the city manager has said I really need to concentrate on that. So I will be looking to redo our conference area.
Councilmember French.
Thank you. If you look at this list, it's sort of all over the place. Have you been able to align, especially with the heavy equipment that the street department's been asking for years, have we been able to align those needs with what's available through this clearinghouse, so that in a year's time, we can meet the needs of our street department? I mean, I look at the dump truck and the bulldozer and other things, and those are sort of obvious sorts of needs, but are there other needs that have been identified as part of our capital improvement plan?
That's a great question, yes. Actually, so how this works is the U.S. military puts this stuff online at around midnight. Chief and I are not up at midnight waiting for this to come online, but at 3 o'clock it sends out emails to you. So when I wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, I have an email waiting for me. I'll try and tag that sort of thing. I tried getting 2 front-end loaders, and missed out to other police departments somewhere in the nation have grabbed them before I did, because we need it to, when we do the range, we need that sort of thing, and I know that that's what the street department needs, so, the chief and I have gotten with the department heads and kind of said, look, when we are getting this sort of thing, what are some of the things that we need to look out for the city as a whole? And then also kind of looked at the capital improvement plan that everyone came up with, and we're trying to check that off. I just have to be able to justify to the United States military that we need it for public safety and for the range and for other projects, like an exercise room or redoing our conference area, community policing. Community policing is a big thing. I've been trying like crazy to get certain things. They even have soccer balls, where our goal was to get a whole case or a whole pallet of soccer balls, basketballs, and to hand those out at community events. So we're trying to get, kind of check that list off as we go.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from council?
No, just come to Juneteenth, because you'll be there showing off all the stuff.
I will be too.
Okay. Any other?
Yeah,
Councilman Brown.
It's a comment, Mayor. Thank you. You know, it's amazing to look at this list and see all the savings to the city. So I don't know exactly how you stumbled across this program, but kudos for
Thank you.
doing that.
Thank you very much.
And I think I speak for the entire council when I say we're looking forward to our cookout from the police department with the portable kitchen. So, thank you.
Most definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We will move forward to agenda item C.
We gotta vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. There was a motion and a second. This will be a roll call vote.
Councilmember Reed? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Lawler?
Yes.
Spicer?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
And Mayor Brown?
Yes. Agenda item C, request approval of city of council and city manager goals. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support.
Moved and seconded. Basically, the council annually sits down in work sessions and with, I guess, in conversation with city manager and staff, basically comes up with goals for that particular year. I'm not going to read all of these, but the kind of the primary categories that the city's looking to focus its attention on this year are governance, neighborhood stabilization, gateway improvements into the city, some infrastructure projects, and then in line with what the EDC president mentioned earlier, some efforts at workforce development and economic development within the city. So, yes, mission and vision too. And some of these are tasks that the council will be responsible for. Some are the manager and the department heads and staff. But I think we're in a good place. And are there any other comments? If there are not any other comments, we'll call a vote. Okay. So roll call vote.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Lawler?
Yes.
Spicer?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
Barnes? Reed?
Yes.
And Mayor Brown?
Yes. City manager report, item D.
Thank you. Mayor and council, I want to start by just taking a moment to thank and applaud our outstanding staff. As we just heard from Deputy Chief Jason Kern, they do an exemplary job just to try to maximize the opportunities for the city as a whole. And Jason probably didn't really emphasize that he has to get up in the wee hours to get the bids in ahead of these other law enforcement agencies. So, and that's just indicative of the dedication we have from all of our departments. We recently had the street main break during the reconstruction, and our crews were out there assisting and making certain that service was restored as quickly as possible, working in collaboration with MDOT. So I'm always appreciative of their commitment and hard work and efforts. In regards to the MDOT Superior Street reconstruction, they're adding signage to help direct vehicles to the parking locations downtown. As mentioned, they had the 2 incidents with water interruptions last week. Those were remediated as quickly as possible. They are continuing to have their open houses every other Wednesday at 9 a.m. at Ludington Center. The next one will be May 10th. The following one will be May 24th.
If I could just add, they will be held in the second floor conference room of the Ludington Center. So if you're coming, citizens are of course welcome to come and ask questions. It's on the second floor in the conference room. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember French. Also, should be noted that for this coming week, Superior Street will be closed from Ash to Michigan. Cass Street will remain open. Erie Street is to be closed at the end of the week for 2 to 3 days. The pedestrian barricades will allow for access for people who are walking. And from the Finance Department, today is the deadline for getting your income taxes in. So just a reminder.
To remind you.
And as we heard from our county commissioner in regards to the assessing, I think there was an inquiry of having our assessor come in for a presentation. I just needed some direction from you on if you want this at a regular meeting or if you want to set up a work session. I can get that scheduled.
Okay. Councilmember French.
I would ask for a regular meeting.
Okay,
I don't know how other people feel, but I prefer a regular meeting.
That's fine.
okay. Thank you.
I would just like to point out, I don't object to the regular meeting, but I want to point out that the regular meeting presentation is going to restrict the time, so I don't know if we think we're going to need more time. But if we think we can do it in a regular meeting, I'm all for that.
Councilmember French.
If I could respond, thank you, Mayor. I just think in the initial could be a presentation. If we then have more questions, we can schedule a study session
Okay,
with them after. We may not have as many questions.
That's fine.
that's fine.
Okay. As you are all aware, there were some concerns raised relative to Granger's invoicing and the inclusion of biblical quotes on the invoices. After meeting with them, they did agree to allow any resident who does not wish to have that language on their invoices to contact them to have it removed. For public safety, Officer Richard Decker is going to be retiring. His last day will be Friday. So we'll have to figure out some kind of celebration to commemorate that. Recreation has a number of activities going on, and I want to start off by thanking everyone who supported the Daddy-Daughter Dance. It was really a great event. It's always fun to see the dads and the little girls all dressed up and dancing, or at least I think the dads were dancing, but the little girls were dancing. They had a really fantastic time. And Councilmember Reed contributed a great deal of the food for the event and cooked it herself. So thank you, Council Person, Member Reed, for always supporting our activities. Open Swim is ongoing, so that's Monday and Wednesday, 6 to 8. Water aerobics, which is growing in popularity, that's Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6:30. Open walking is still available Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 10 a.m. at the Albion Community Center. The 12U and 14U baseball teams are starting with their practices. Dance exercise, ballroom, and swing dance is also available through our recreation department, so there's a lot going on. And I'm very thrilled to convey to you that there's been a meeting of a number of organizations that are having summer programming for youth. So we're trying to collaborate so that there will be a combined promotion of these events and also coordinating so we're not all over each other because we often are going after the same populations. So this is really exciting and looking at a kickoff event so that people get a taste of some of the different offerings from the various programs, and also a end of summer event to celebrate everything. So it's been a wonderful collaboration with Mr. Bonner, as well as individuals from Albion College have been helping to coordinate that effort. And the Albion Building Authority, their next meeting is going to be June 8th, unless they call a special meeting. They did give permission to Hoffman Brothers, who are doing the construction on Superior Street, to utilize their parking lot down on Cass, or the street formerly known as Cass. So,
Erie.
I thought it was Cass.
It says Erie.
Oh, I typed it wrong. Cass Street.
Okay.
It actually says Eric.
Duh.
One of my typos.
Which parking lot is it?
Across from the dollar store.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's Cass.
That's a ways away from the project.
Okay. The EDC, their next meeting is May 4th, and we're working with them to do a community marketing to try to get a brand for Albion as we move forward and can help promote the community with a positive ID. The DDA is scheduled their car cruise, red, white, and blue car cruise for June 29th. The Planning Commission, we have submitted the second quarter report for the redevelopment ready community, and their annual report will be coming to council at your next council meeting. AmeriCorps Vista, they have left already, but they have done such a phenomenal job for the city as well as many of our fellow organizations. So we're really thrilled to have had them. They're winding up their first year, and the applications are available for the new recruits. So if you know of anyone in the nation, quite frankly, but especially locally, who might be interested in serving as an AmeriCorps Vista member, please encourage them to apply. Also working through them, we're planning on a community open house and visioning event that will be on June 28th. And I want to alert you that the next Eggs and Issue will be May 19th at Duck Lake. And you have included in my report a list of the various activities that resilient communities will be hosting, and I encourage you all to attend and help spread the word. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Are there any, agenda item E, are there any future agenda items? Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm asking that council discuss or figure out a way to move forward with updating the council rules and procedures that we started at our work session. I am also asking that we move forward with the discussion on the Cass Street presentation that we received today.
I would second both.
Yeah, those are fine.
Thank you for bringing
Are there any other future agenda items this evening? Councilmember Spicer.
Thank you. I would like information, perhaps it already exists, if not, if it's going to be too involved and time-consuming, the city manager can certainly let us know. But I would like some info, update regarding the street signs in Albion, the improvement, the modifications, replacement. Have you noticed the signs around town are, particularly in certain precincts, are very worn and raggedy and rusted, and so I'd just like us to take a look at that.
Okay, absolutely.
Is this for next meeting?
Yes.
But you put on there Juneteenth, please.
Okay.
Present.
So we have council rules and procedures, we have
The Cass Street.
Cass Street, we have the street signs, we have Juneteenth, and I'm missing something else. Is there something else? Maybe there wasn't. Okay, I think that's those items.
Juneteenth and Howland Park.
Okay.
Mayor, if I could?
Yes.
In regards to these requests, for the council rules, are you saying that you want this on the next agenda?
Well,
Or
what I'd like to do is, because, you know, we just had a study session with Ms. Seward, and she, and it's in the packet actually, with some changes in order to, I guess, expedite it. What I'd probably want to do is just have like a small, like, 3-person committee of council, harmonize that, and then bring it back to council. So if, council members are interested, let me know, and then we can figure that out, and so then we can just have that set by next meeting, and then give them a time frame to bring that back. So just to save on endless meetings. And then with questions about anything, again, any of the other items?
I just wanted to confirm that you want it on the next agenda, so that's the Cass Street as well.
Sorry,
Oh,
Mayor.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I don't object to, I brought it up because I didn't want us to just drop the ball on it. I wanted us to remember that we had work to do on that. So however we decide to do that as a council,
So
I'm fine with it.
could it potentially be a situation where we just, because I recall, and this was a number of years ago, I guess our former Director of Public Services had a conversation with him about street name changes, and I guess there's some, hoops that you have to go through, but it's.
We were talking about council rules.
Oh. Oh, well.
I'm sorry, help.
Okay.
So,
Well, one second, so we'll do it that way. So Councilman Barnes and then Councilman French.
So am I hearing we're gonna ask for a subcommittee to go over the rules and then bring it back to the council as a whole and discuss it? That's what I heard.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion to do that, but Councilman French.
I was hoping that after our meeting with the consultant, and I think we were, those present, all of us, I thought we had come to an agreement and that we had before us a document of those rules. We have a copy. I think our clerk can send us the Word document electronically. If you accept all changes, it simplifies this into a very nice 4-page document, which I have done, and I'm happy to share with everybody. And then we can all look at that as our homework, so that we could come to the meeting in 2 weeks and just say, yes. If we need to have conversations about individual things, it's sort of like, do you want to have a meeting or a subcommittee in anticipation of difficulty, or do you want to have your council meeting, and if there's no difficulty, there's no more work needed, but if there is, you can send it to a subcommittee. And so I would prefer that we provide the corrected version of our rules that everybody can then read. If we can have that discussion about whether we want to accept it or not. If we do, we're done. If we have questions, we might be able to sort them out in a conversation that happens at a council meeting. We can adopt with friendly amendment any sort of subtle change. If they're substantive, we can then push it out to a subcommittee. But my guess is that we're not going to need that subcommittee.
As I mentioned earlier, I think the addition with or the version with the track changes are in the packet.
Right, but it's confusing because the track changes go on. If you accept all of those, then it gets rid of all the comments on the right side of your file.
Okay.
And so then you can actually read it. There's some highlighted text that's still there, so that you can see what substantive changes, changing council person and council member to the 2-word council member, et cetera. But all the formatting, I mean, there's literally pages and pages of formatting this, formatting that. It's a little cumbersome, so.
I agree.
So if I can send that out, or I can give it, or Jill, sorry, our city clerk can send that out as a Word document, and then you can do that, and then. So I don't know if I'm misrepresenting how the council felt after our consultation meeting with Coco.
No, I think it was good, and I think we went through, some of the main things, but there were some, I guess, some formatting things, and then some other things that were, which I feel would kind of be relatively non-controversial, that in terms of like just wording that we might want to look at, and so that's kind of what I was saying, you know, those things.
But you have it in advance, you can bring
Yeah.
those to the council
Yeah.
meeting, and we can make the changes in the council meeting.
What I'll do, well, if we can get a clean copy, the council could look over that and submit those by the next meeting. I still think we're probably gonna have to have a subcommittee for that, because I don't wanna spend, an exorbitant amount of time at council going over that, because it's really kind of work session territory. So, but I'm cool with that, so if we can, include the changes or go over these, and just review them and come with any questions or comments, and then, depending on the level of, you know, the level of changes, go that route. Councilmember Muller.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I missed a couple things that were discussed at that meeting, because I had a funeral that day, but I did ask someone from the council, did we ever get the establishment of how it goes to adding things to the agenda, and I was told that we did not get that completed. So do we still have to complete that part of it, or was it completed already? Because I was told that it had not been.
It was discussed, and I think we ran up to with the, you know, time frame issue. I think that, and that's partly why I was saying the committee thing, because the language that was based on, the suggested language came out of the City of Port Huron's Rules of Procedure. And, you know, I like how it's formatted and is very clear about, you know, I mean, some of the stuff's in the charter, but if, you know, if we had it there, like, okay, this is the standard dates and times for regular council meetings, special meetings are conducted this way, work sessions, and that's why I was saying those are things that would not be controversial, but that I probably wouldn't want to have meetings to do that. So.
So did we get it established, or we did not? Is that something you need to finish?
I think that we probably do need to finish that. But I think that might, you know, in prep for the next meeting, if we have a determination on that, that can be made, and then the kind of minor things can be, formatting and structure can be handed off to a committee just to do that.
Okay, I was just trying to make sure we were done discussing, and if we did have to vote on, what the changes were, did we finish that part of it?
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any other future agenda items? Councilman Brown.
I don't have an additional item, Mayor. I just, for clarification, so the next meeting, we're going to have a edited copy of the council rules, and then we're going to discuss and decide then how to proceed with adopting those?
Yeah, so if you, once purchases, I guess, have been implemented, or approved in the document, we can send that out, review those, and then we can have a discussion at the council meeting, and then, you know, if need be, hand it off to a council committee. Councilmember French.
Thank you. So what I'm hearing people say then is that it will be on the agenda for our next meeting, but we may not vote on it.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I will happily serve on a subcommittee to help bring about these changes.
Okay.
I will too.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I will send the.
Yeah.
You have it, so, sorry.
Oh, so you're good, so we'll talk about it. Seeing no other future agenda items, we will, was there, Councilman Brown?
I think Dr. Mitchell, sorry, Mayor, thank you. I think Dr. Mitchell wanted clarification on the Cass Street discussion too. Did you want to know? We need to figure out what how we're going to have that on the agenda, and then we can go. I'm sorry, I just.
Perhaps.
I think.
Perhaps, you know, given the time frame, maybe could we have would we have time, almost 2 weeks, but would we have time to see like what I guess the procedure is if we did want to to do that, because I'm sure there's, in addition to just changing the sign or something like that, we'd have to inform that, and then probably inform the federal government, because there's like they're like master maps and things that.
Just call.
Yeah. Councilmember Reed and Councilmember Spicer and the Bronx.
I think Mrs. Branch wanted that red that you had. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, were there any, Councilmember Spicer?
I think I am going to just, I'm gonna pass.
Okay. Councilmember.
I think you need a subcommittee for the Cass Street thing, because I believe you're opening up a can of worms. That's just my opinion. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Okay. Was there something?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor and council, I'm very thrilled to share with you an announcement that Miss Betty Branch asked that it be forwarded to you and all of our employees, and that Precinct 2 is going to be hosting an old school picnic on May 5th at 12 noon at Washington Street Park. And the purpose is to show appreciation to the city of Albion workers, including public safety, office staff, parks, streets, and recreation departments. So we're very appreciative and looking forward to that. And they would also like to include the retired public safety officers and council persons.
Thank you. Everyone is here this evening. We'll move forward to public comment. Are there any public comments this evening?
Mary Slater, 517 East Michigan Avenue, co-chair of the French Sister City Committee.
Stacy Levin, staff.
Just want to bring you update on a few things that are happening with our Sister City Committee. You know, we're completing a celebration of 20 years of our relationship. Hopefully there will be some people of you that are going to France. Our city manager is one. Also, there will be some children from France coming here for the Summer Dreams program. And there are also 3 young men coming here for the month of July. One will be working with the city, one will be working with the Bohm Theater, and one will be working with the Chamber. They will be doing 1-month internship, and then we have our wonderful French Market coming again.
Yes, the French Market, an annual event hosted by the Albion Sister City Committee and Albion Farmers Market. The event features farm, food, artisan, community organization vendors, as well as live music. The event is free and open to the public. We are taking applications for booths. Farm, food, artisan, and community organization vendors can apply. We have it on Albion French Market's Facebook page as well as the city website.
And it's June 10th.
From 10 to 3.
Thank you.
Et voilà.
Any questions? Anybody have questions for us?
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Mike Fairman, 11016 29 Mile Road. I love the idea that we're getting the ways coming into Albion cleaned up and a nice place to come in. I think Austin Ave, when we put the new trail in there, it's going to be able to be a big addition there to clean that up. Coming in from the south, they come right by the cemetery, and I think we've cleaned that up an awful lot, and that's a gorgeous way to come into Albion. The Rotary is adopted a highway of Michigan Ave all the way out to the highway, and we just cleaned it up last week, and picked up all the paper and that, and you saw all the bags out through there. Thing is, what you might want to look at is there is a brown site out there, the old foundry site, and it can't be used for a lot, but if you could get a hold of it and be able to put an Albion sign right there, it might be something that we could actually beautify coming in Michigan Ave and work with Sheridan Township and that, because that could be an absolutely great place for us to add to the beautiful Albion sites coming in. Also, with your summer rec program, if they want to, I know right now, the road department, Calhoun County Road Department, is looking for different groups to paint the plows. So if they put together an art program for the summer, get a hold of the Calhoun County Road Department through their website and that, and they'll give you a plow to paint, and the kids will be able to see it from throughout the whole winter when it's out being used. So it's a good idea, things to think about, and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Richard Lindsay, Marshall, Michigan. I just wanted to remind everybody, this Thursday at Harrington Elementary is the Get Ready, Get Set, Go K program, 6:30 to 8 o'clock for incoming kindergartners in the fall. Should be a lot of fun, so I created a Facebook event page. It's on the Harrington page. It's also on the Marshall School Board page, so please like it and share it. Let it know your friends and neighbors that have kindergartners, let them know about it. Also, the kids get to ride a bus, which sounds like fun. They get a free t-shirt and a free book, which sounds fun. They get to do math games, which doesn't sound like any fun at all to me, but please let your neighbors and friends and neighbors know about it. Look forward to seeing everybody there. Thank you.
What day?
What's it?
What day?
Is this Thursday, May 4th, 6:30 to 8. Thank you.
Thank you. And then just one thing, so I didn't want to forget this. So each year, the American Legion puts flags out on the graves. And I know that they're asking for volunteers, and they're doing it this Saturday, I want to say at 8 o'clock. And they're going to be at Riverside and Memory Garden. So all those who are interested in that, I'm sure they would appreciate your support. Oh, I think 8 o'clock in the morning is starting.
8.
If there are no other public comments, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a-
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.